Now, doesn't this feel like a much cleaner process to approaching real estate investing versus the asking Matt every other day, hey, is this a good deal? Is this a good deal? Hey, should I buy this property? Can you get cash flow in Toronto? A lot of people are wasting a lot of time looking busy rather than being productive. If you want to be productive, you need to start with your why, get your SMART goal straight, get a strategy that fits your SMART goal, find a market that works for that strategy, then build out milestones, then actually go do the work of cutting down that tree. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the #1 mistake I see new investors make when it comes to jumping into real estate. And let's just cut right to the chase. The #1 mistake I see every new investor make, and I've never met an investor that got this right on the first try, is they start with a strategy or a market first. And that's really a problem, because the strategy or market should not be dictating your why or your SMART goals. In fact, you need to start with a why first, then move on to SMART goals, which are going to dictate your strategy, which will dictate the market. And let's just really walk through the entire flow and concept of this. And you guys let me know in the comments if this makes sense. So with the why, the first thing we're going to focus on is, why are you even here? So we've actually done a whole other video on Dean Graziosi's 7 levels of why deep. But high level, this concept is, why do you want to be a real estate investor? And a lot of new investors come to me with the concept of, I want to become a new real estate investor to get rich, or I want to become a real estate investor to quit my day job. But that's not going to cut it. When push comes to shove, when it actually is going to require hard work, you're going to need a deeper why than simply wanting to get rich or make a bunch of money. And so that why needs to be tethered to an emotional core or emotional nerve. Again, we explored that in an entire other video, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But once you understand your why, then you need to build a SMART goal from it. So one of the most common whys I maybe come across is someone wants to quit their day job so they can spend more time with their family, and they need real estate or passive income in order to achieve that, because they still need to support that family and currently don't have the savings or passive income to do so. So if you want to spend more time with your family, if you want to give your kids a better life or a better lifestyle or a better parenting experience than maybe you received, that's a pretty strong why. And so moving on to that, then we need to build out a SMART goal. So a SMART goal is simply something that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Again, I've done a whole other video series on this, so we'll link down to that in the video description down below so you guys can jump over. But again, without a SMART goal, and again, these letters are very important. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And if your SMART goal isn't all of those 5 things, you need to keep working on it. But once we get that SMART goal, and let's say our why was quit my job. Quit job because family. So my SMART goal maybe looks like, well, to support my family, I need to make $5,000 a month. So that's good because it's specific. And we're going to need to get a little bit more deeper into that, but let's just roll with that now. So specific $5,000, measurable, I can measure it. Achievable, has anyone ever done this before? Yes. Realistic, same concept. And timely, I just need to set a timeline. Let's say I want to quit in 5 years. So in 5 years, I want to make $5,000 a month passively from cash flow, so I can quit my day job. Well, now we can take this and start building a strategy around that. If I want to create cash flow, something like wholesaling or flipping doesn't really make a lot of sense. Same with, there's really no sense in me studying to become a realtor or a mortgage agent either, because those are more active streams of income. So when I'm looking at passive, well, it's probably going to be something like cash flow or potentially private lending. So again, now we're going to be faced with, do I want private lending or cash flow from rentals? So once we're starting to explore this concept of, I want to quit my job because I need to spend more time with my family to give my kids a better life than what my parents were able to give me, we've got that emotional core. Now, once we move on to SMART goals, we're looking at something specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. $5,000 a month in spendable cash so I can support my family, so I can quit my job. And I want to do that in 5 years. So really now I need to look at what real estate investment strategies work to allow me to achieve that. So maybe it's private lending, maybe it's cash flowing rentals. But either way, one of these strategies is most likely going to be the best investment vehicle for me to achieve my goal. Then I'm going to choose my market. So let's say I decide to go with cash flowing rentals as my primary focus in order to generate that $5,000 a month in cash flow. Well, now I'm going to need to look for markets where I can actually cash flow. And this is where a lot of, say, investors from Toronto get it all wrong. They start off with, I live in Toronto and want to invest in Toronto, and I'd like to make cash flow. And then they start trying to build a SMART goal and develop a why from there. Hey YouTube, are you guys looking to buy a rental property? If the answer is yes, then you need to pay close attention to the following information. Nitty Gritty Real Estate is a company that's here to help you buy a rental property in your market in as little as 30 days. Investors typically learn real estate by watching YouTube videos, joining Facebook groups, all kinds of different things, reading books. However, I see tons of people spend a lot of time and money and yet never end up taking action because they still don't know how to actually get started. Does this sound familiar? The best way to learn something is by actually doing it. And so Nitty Gritty's experienced team will actually walk you through the entire process of how to buy a property, rehab it, get it up and operational, and they'll even provide you with contacts if you need to set up the real estate business. So if you need lawyers, accountants, things like that. But go to nittygrittyrealestate.com for additional information, and you can click the link in the video description down below to hop over. But again, they're really just here to help facilitate and get you launched into your real estate investing career, and they'll give you a free consultation with no obligation whatsoever. So again, link to everything that we talked about is in the video description down below. Jump over and talk to Nitty Gritty Real Estate, and why not get started today? And this is where a lot of, say, investors from Toronto get it all wrong. They start off with, I live in Toronto and want to invest in Toronto, and I'd like to make cash flow. And then they start trying to build a SMART goal and develop a why from there. You're doing it completely backwards, guys. There's no real reason you need to invest in Toronto unless it's dictated by your strategy. And unless your strategy is dictated by your SMART goal, which is dictated by your why, this is an entire house of cards with no solid foundation. So what I want you guys to do instead is build a really strong foundation on that emotional core that comes from doing Dean Graziosi's 7 levels why deep exercise that he originally got from Joe Stump. Then, once you've got a clear emotional nerve to tether your SMART goal to, then we're going to get into the specifics of what that SMART goal looks like. Once we understand that SMART goal, we're going to select a strategy that's going to allow us to achieve it. So there's no sense in becoming a flipper if I want passive income. And there's no sense becoming a buy and hold investor if I want active income. It's all a personal choice, but it's important that we take the right flow to these choices, or else you're going to end up with a mishmash of a strategy that makes no sense whatsoever. You're going to be stuck in analysis paralysis, and you're never going to take action because you don't really understand why it moves the needle. So once we select a market, if we're looking for cash flowing rentals here in Ontario, Canada, well, Southwestern Ontario is a great market. And the reason it is because I can probably cash flow say $150 to $250 a month per unit. Whereas, and that's real cash flow. I know some investors in Toronto and Hamilton and Oshawa throw out fake cash flow numbers where they don't include things like repairs and maintenance, property management, or bad debt and vacancy. But understand, if you know that your overarching why is to quit your job and that your SMART goal is you need passive income that you can actually spend to support your family, well, now we know that we're not going to lie to ourselves anymore about our market, are we? We're going to make sure that we're realistic in selecting the right market to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. So finding a property in, Toronto that cash flows $0 a month, well, how many properties cash flowing at $0 a month do I need to acquire to make $5,000? Well, I could acquire all the properties in Toronto making $0 a month cash flow and still not have the cash flow I need. And while building that equity, maybe you're making money from appreciation, seems great. If it doesn't hit your why, if it doesn't hit your SMART goal, it's simply a distraction. So in this case, maybe I choose to select London, Ontario now as my market, because in London, I can get $200 a month in cash flow. Well, from this now, I can start building milestones from my SMART goals. But there's no sense building those milestones until I know what my strategy is and what my market is. So this is really where understanding and building out this process is so important for the long-term success for you as a real estate investor. Don't just jump blindly into some arbitrary property because you're just really scared that you're never going to be able to afford a rental property again because the market's hot. That's a fool's errand. You're chasing fool's gold. Instead, we're building a real business model. Now, this takes a little bit of time. If you're going to do it right, maybe you're going to set aside half a day to really dive deep into this and lay it out. But this, to me, is really a great representation or example of the quote that's attributed to Abraham Lincoln. If you ask me to chop down a tree and give me 6 hours, the first 5 hours I'm going to spend sharpening the axe. The last hour I'm going to chop the tree down. This is sharpening your axe. If you're not clear on this, you're just going to be flailing about arbitrarily. You're going to be completely lost in the dark or the fog of war when it comes to investing. So from my milestones then, once I've got $5,000 in cash flow that I know I want, I can simply take that $5,000, divide in the $200 a month in cash flow, and I'm going to find I need 25 units. Now, if my goal is to do this over 5 years, I can simply build that out as acquire 5 units per year that each cash flow $200 a month. Now, doesn't this feel like a much cleaner process to approaching real estate investing versus the asking Matt every other day, hey, is this a good deal? Is this a good deal? Hey, should I buy this property? Can you get cash flow in Toronto? A lot of people are wasting a lot of time looking busy rather than being productive. If you want to be productive, you need to start with your why, get your SMART goal straight, get a strategy that fits your SMART goal, find a market that works for that strategy, then build out milestones, then actually go do the work of cutting down that tree. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this really helps you get clarity, especially for those of you that are new to real estate investing. I wish if I had a time machine, I could go back and really dial in this process. Now, when I originally started real estate investing, I was focused on retiring early and quitting my day job, and I gave myself, at the age of 25, 10 years to accomplish that goal. And because I knew that I wanted to quit my day job, I knew that I needed cash flow. So I didn't necessarily build out the perfect process here, but I was moving in the right direction, rather than just throwing a dart at a market or a strategy and then trying to shoehorn it into my why and my SMART goals. Do not do that, guys. So jump in the comment section down below. Let me know, what is your why? What is your SMART goal? What is your strategy? And what is your market? If you guys actually take the time to do that, someone on my team may reach out to you because we're going to at least select one lucky winner to jump on a free coaching call with me where I'll explore this in depth with you. So if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and jump in the comment section and let me know what other videos, concepts, or topics should I be covering in the next video. Thanks, guys.